Hello, welcome back to my Thoughtful Thursdays video channel where we talk about important topics both inside and outside the church. It is raining outside. Oh man, but I had to shoot this video on Tuesday, so who knows, maybe tomorrow's gonna be a lot nicer. But alas, even though it's for Thursday, it is raining on Tuesday. We have been in a small series on spiritual practices that everyone can participate in. Now today I want us to continue down that conversation a little bit into the area of generosity. A pastor that I used to know used to say all the time that he could tell what people really value with a quick look at their checkbooks. Now, when a pastor says that, it usually makes me cringe just a little because it sounds like they're trying to guilt trip people into giving money to the church, because that message can be read into the statement as, I don't think you're giving enough money to the church. And if you say you really care about God, you should be giving more money to the church. You shouldn't be giving money to all these other things. Now, I hope that this pastor has changed his wording a little bit in terms of using the word checkbook, because I don't know a lot of people that use checkbooks anymore. However, I wonder if he wasn't on to something. No, not the guilting people into giving money to a church. Trust me, you will never get me to guilt you to give money to a church. But we as people do tend to spend our money on the things that we value, though, don't we? I'm not talking about things in life that are necessities like food, medicine, shelter, and things that people need. I'm more talking about the superfluous money, that money that's on top of when all of our basic needs have been met. I think we could probably take a good look at people's cash flow and figure out where their values are. We all have our own little luxuries in life that we have to have. I know that I have mine. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. In fact, there are 0 fingers being pointed out there. All the fingers are being pointed right back at me, because maybe it's really nice food, or maybe we like to have the best food. We might consider ourselves foodies. Maybe it's that really nice red wine that we have to have. Any wine snobs out there, or maybe beer snobs? Maybe it's our cars, or maybe it's houses, or maybe it's scrapbooking. Maybe I just need to have my Starbucks kick once a day, or perhaps it's my gym membership, or maybe it's motorcycles or golfing, or maybe it's buying new books. Maybe it's having brand name clothing. Maybe it's always having my nails done or my hair perfect, or maybe it's massages and health supplements. Perhaps if you're like me, it's Taylor Swift albums, typewriters, and laserdiscs. Like I said, we all have our own little luxuries, and I think that every single one of us can attest to why we need that one thing in our life. I know I sure can justify it. Taylor Swift helps my soul when I'm sad. And for the most part, probably most of these things are harmless in and of themselves in small quantities. However, the problem lies with generosity, which is the topic of our conversation today. Most of my friends aren't infinitely rich. Most of my family isn't infinitely rich. We only have so much money, and we have to arrange it in a way to make our lives work. We have to budget, we have to save, we move money around from one category to another, and in fact, a lot of people that I know are just trying to get by, living paycheck to paycheck. What I often find is that people want to be generous. When we think about ourselves, our innermost being, who I am, I know that I do. I want to be a generous person. I would say that most of my friends and family are right in the same ballpark as I am. Now, once again, this video is not meant to beat anyone up or to guilt trip anyone. It's just to address a topic that I believe is happening in our society right now. We all want to be generous. We all tell ourselves that we are generous people. We all imagine that we're generous as well. However, when we go back to that cash flow analogy that we were talking about earlier, often what we find is that we are not as generous as we think that we are, and a quick look at our budgets would probably tell us that. Somewhere there is a disconnect between what I want and what I see myself being and my actual self, and I think it's rooted really deeply into this American rugged individualism that we see all around us. Our society is brought up to think in terms of staunch individualism. It's all about me, it's a dog-eat-dog world, you've got to look out for numero uno. Certainly there is a part of that which is healthy and good, and of course certainly there's a part of that which is not so good. I even think about the booming industry of gyms across the country and just how prevalent and popular that trend is right now. I say this full well being a member of a gym, but it isn't just gyms. It's an entire culture. It's an ethos. There's dietary supplements and shakes and essential oils and new diets and new workout programs. Everything is super intense, and everything new is way better than that old thing. That old workout plan that you used to use, that's crap. You've got to buy this new one now. Don't buy those cheaper supplements and vitamins from Walgreens. You've got to buy this supplement and powder that costs 3 times as much and is every bit as non-FDA approved. And if you want to be cut, you've got to do the work. Everything is moving so fast, and it will continue to move faster and faster and faster, and it will never be enough. You'll join that new fad later on, you'll do the new supplement. Then society will change in 6 months, and that will no longer be good enough. And it feeds off of American people. You have to remember that this supplements industry is a massive industry that makes a ton of money every single year. And it feeds off of people's insecurities, that you aren't good enough, that you by yourself aren't enough. You have to be this better version of yourself. And it just so turns out that this better version of yourself is tan, has chiseled abs, has arm muscles, and doesn't age. It's all about the gains, bro. I'm gonna make a predicament to you right now. I don't usually consider myself prophetic. I'm going to go out on a limb though and say that we are going to get down the road of life and look back at this time in our society and realize that all of this wasn't very healthy. These high intensity workouts in the long run were not as good for us as we thought. These supplements and shakes and energy drinks were actually far worse for us than we were led to believe. You can hold me to that prediction. I think I'm right, and I think if you really look at yourself deep down inside, you would know that I'm right as well. But it's so hard because it's so prevalent in our society. We've got to do what other people are doing. Here's where all of this links into our generosity topic today. I think that we all as a society have been duped into believing that this self-care will make us better people. We turn in on ourselves and we now need these things because I need to take care of myself. I need to make sure that I'm healthy. I can't help others unless I'm healthy first. But there's this black hole in the fitness industry that will never be tired of taking your money. That thirst will never be satiated, and self-care is important. I'm not knocking that at all. However, this industry booms on me, on the great I am. It's tapped into this deep American individualism that we talked about. It's all about me. It's about looking better, about people thinking that I'm a decade younger than I am, and we can surely justify it. But what if I told you that it never ends? Next month, something new will come along. So much so that even things like mindfulness, which one would think are good things, have actually made us less generous as a society. Because once again, it's all about me. What can I get from this practice? How can this calm me down? We don't really see this in some other societies. Buddhism, for example, teaches a lot about mindfulness. There's certainly a lot to do with health and healthy well-being and exercise in Buddhism. In many Asian countries, when they think about who they are, they refer themselves to the we in their mindfulness. Now in America, we refer to the I. I don't think in terms of a collective. We don't think in terms of a collective. All these things that we are supposed to be doing to make us better have turned us as a society in on ourselves. Now, I've used the gym because that's one of my things. It's like my second home away from home. But it could be whatever is in your life. What are the things in our lives that we spend money on, that we in some way are able to justify to say, well, it's making me a better person, but actually draws us in on ourselves? It uses all of our time, our energy, and our money. Maybe it takes from that limited income that we have. Maybe we want to be more generous, but we find that all of our extra money is going towards this one thing. But what if I were to tell you that perhaps drawing back from that one thing and being more generous with your time, energy, and resources would probably make you a better person in the long run? Once again, I'll use the gym because that is my context that I live in. I could buy all the protein powders. I could get the latest amino-infused shakes. I could buy a meal plan. I could get tested and scanned frequently. I could get all of the oils possible. I could buy the latest powder that is guaranteed to make me a better person. I could get lean and cut and have six-pack abs and broad shoulders and a skinny waist and all of that jazz. Once again, all of that is focused on me. Friends, I'm not so convinced that that will truly make you a better person. I think that there's value in exercise. I really do. I also think that there's value in these wellness exercises we've been talking about. However, I believe that bang for your buck, I think that donating your time and money is of far greater worth and will serve you better in the long run and make you a more outward focused and better person. And get this, you'll feel good doing it as well. Now, I'm big on what's happening in our brains lately because of these grad school classes that I've been a part of. Exercise, fatty foods, sex, and generosity all target the same pleasure centers of our brain. Through generosity, we can get those same gym highs and sex highs that we so love, but we can do something that isn't solely focused on ourselves. It's that same dopamine rush. only now we get to get it from giving to others. Friends, that's all the time that I have this week. Next week, I'm going to be moving on to talk about the Word of Faith movement, also known as Name It and Claim It Christianity. You won't want to miss it. I'll see you back here next week, same time, same place.